to just talk shit. There's nothing else to do. I did a bunch of I still have work to do on the van and doing I got to do some finishing touches and stuff, and then it'll be all ready. And I was watching a show, and it's a YouTube video, and this person has like a bunch of stuff, and I thought there's something not right about the way I think and the way I am. And I was in the army for a long time, and I've been retired for like almost 19 years. So like, I really don't know what day of the week it is most of the time, or what month it is, or I've even been to the bank and gotten the wrong year and shit. You just being retired, there is no clock. It's not late. It's not breakfast time. It's not there's daytime and there's nighttime. That's fucking it. You know, you're awake in the daytime. You sleep at night. So, and this person, he has a bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense to me, or I don't agree with, or just because of my lifestyle before, I just don't need that stuff. He travels and does like 1 or 2 nights car camping, and he just like bought a Sprinter van. But he's got like all kinds of lights and generator things, and hooked up to solar panels and all. It's like 1 or 2 days or nights. You need like 1,200 watts, maybe 600 watts, because you don't do that much. I mean, when I go, I run my fan if it's too hot. I don't go when it's too hot or too cold. I don't go when there's a whole bunch of people, like June, July, and August. Forget it. I just stay in the house, because that's when all the dickheads are out and the accidents are, and the criminal fuckers from that come from another state. It's being touristy to them, but for us it's a fucking hassle. There's virtually no crime here, and then you bring your goddamn crime and your garbage and your shit here, because like they just go back home. They don't fucking care. They're not the ones that have to live here with that shit. So June, July, and August, I'll stay home because it's too fucking hot for a van anyway. My van isn't insulated or any of that stuff. It's just a stock 2024 Ram ProMaster high roof. It's like from the ground to the top of it's like 9 feet, and it's like 20 all total. It's the back of it, behind the driver's cabin and stuff, is 21 feet. Overall length from outside, from front to the back, is 24 feet. So this thing is, like I said, it's a beast. So but he has lots of stuff, and I just thought I must have been a Green Beret in the Army for too long, because like he's got like to take a shower and go to a truck stop. He's only traveling and van camping for 1 or 2 days. I mean, I've been without a shower for fucking weeks, even months at a time in the military. I mean, like, who gives a fuck? I mean, you don't notice you're stinky and dirty until you get around clean people, which, like, I never do, really. I mean, if when I get home, I'll take my shower. But some of these people, they only go for 1 or 2 days, and they gotta brush their teeth, they gotta have a shower, and they gotta have all this light and shit. I got one light in my van, so that I don't run the battery out or anything. It's a USB light, and it's got magnetic. It sticks onto the wall. That's all I need, and that lights up the van plenty good enough for me. When you like basically what they call stealth camp, you don't want people to see the light. And that's all I need. And like if by chance it does get too cold when I'm out, I have the window covers in the back windows, and I'll just take a canvas camo blanket and put it over the back, and then it keeps the heat in. It keeps my body heat in, and for anything too cold, I have an electric blanket, and it's a energy saving electric blanket. I think it uses like 26 watts, and after like 4 hours, 4.5 hours, it goes off by itself because it's designed. If you plug it into the car, it won't drain your battery. In 4.5 hours, it'll cut off. You don't need that much. I mean, if it's cold out, you just want to get in a toasty warm bed and shit, and after 4.5 hours, who cares? You should be asleep by then. If it's 50, 40, 30 degrees, that's no big shit. The only thing cold about it is that you're in a metal van, and it's like being in a tin can. It's a little bit colder in there, but it's not that bad, especially when you're in your bed with the blankets on and shit. So, but this guy, like I said, he goes for 1 or 2 days, and he has all this stuff, and it's like, to me, that stuff isn't necessary. Like I said, I guess I was in the army too long, because like, you don't need a shower, you don't need to brush your teeth, you don't need a whole bunch of light, and they I've seen other people do it too. They watch like TV on their little phone and shit, or their laptop. I got a regular TV in my van, and it's got the antenna shit. So like, I usually get like 20 channels or more in some places. Some places like I get 53 channels in Florida. It's like, and you don't pay for them, and that most of you get MeTV, old time TV, antenna TV, Cozy. You get everything. You get like everything. The old Gilligan's Island, all that old shit, and all the old shows on WeTV or MeTV, and you don't pay for that. You got to pay for that shit when you get cable TV. That's like on my TV in here, and the one in the living room, I just have regular TV on them, and they have Roku. And if they didn't, well, then I wouldn't have computer, because like I have to have Wi-Fi because of the computer, and the radios run through the computer and interfaced, and for more clarity on the other end and distance and things like that. But TV, I just like watch regular TV and watch Roku and stuff like that once in a while. But I have to have the Wi-Fi. But that's it. I mean, there are so many people that are just. Maybe it's me. Like I said, maybe it's me. And you don't need to shower every day. You don't need to brush your teeth every day. You don't need to take your vitamins and work out every fucking day. It's supposed to be relaxing in nature, and just enjoying the view and the place you happen to be. All that other stuff is just gonna kind of interfere and fuck that shit up, But so like in the cooler month, let's see, March, like after March 15th and after, because the beginning is like, it's cool, it's cold, it's a little bit of everything. It's cold, it's rainy, it's a pain in the ass. But after like the 15th and stuff, then it's even up until June, so March 15th and after, April, May, and then you skip June, July, and August because it's too much traffic and too much heat and all kinds of shit. You kind of sit there and I've been out before, and it's like the Blue Ridge Parkway is a beautiful place, but they got vans and stuff lined up on both sides all the way down when it's tourist season, because they want to get to the Blue Ridge Parkway and get to the campgrounds and stuff. It's like, God damn it, don't you have anything beautiful in your own fucking state? No, I guess not. So they have to come up here. We got to see the mountains in the Blue Ridge Parkway and fuck it up for all of us North Carolinians. Which, like, when it's like after July, after August is over, the first week in September they start going home and shit, and it's like, bye. Don't let the door to North Carolina hit you on the ass on the way out, you little fuckers. You know, so it's nice and peaceful and quiet. I can go car camping now without putting up with all this shit. More chances for a fucking accident or something, and you know, it's just because they're tourists and they drive like asses or they're too slow, and it's like, I put up with the old fucks in Florida. I don't want to put up with them again. You know, they come up here and still drive like they're dumb shits. They've probably been coming up here for 50 years, but they're still going slow and turning slow and getting in the fucking way. And, you know, it's like, you've been here for 50 years. You should know where the fuck you're going now. Go there. Stay there. Don't drive on the road. And then when you go to a store in June, July, or August, forget it. Forget it. My crippled ass can't stand up that fucking long. You know, it's like, I'll just like order food and yeah, bring it to me. You know, then they gotta go through the inconvenience of waiting for that shit, and it's like, well, I'll give you an extra tip and shit. You know, I'm always good to people who take care of me. And, you know, they do something for me, they get treated very well, and they get helped out in many ways, and tipped really good. And but it's weird to see some of these people on YouTube. They go van camping or, you know, just for 1 or 2 days, and they have to have all this stuff, and it's like totally not necessary. And there was even one, and it was a female, and she's trying to put up an outdoor shower on her vehicle. It's like, what for? You know, for 1 or 2 days? You don't even need that. I mean, that's just like extra weight and shit in your shower. Or now you gotta have water. You know, I've seen vans and stuff. They go 1 or 2 days and they have a sink in the fucking thing. And it's like, you know, all you really need is like a regular TV set, a 1200 watt generator, a USB light, a cot instead of a full bed. You know, the cot has it's a cot, an army cot, and then on top of it, it has a 4-inch foam mattress with a cover on it. That's all you need, and then the cover it has a sheet, like a cover sheet that goes over that too, and then you make the bed or the cot, and it's like, and that's plenty fine and comfortable. And I mean, you know, they gotta have a full-size bed and all kinds of shit, and it's like, yeah, but you're only going for 1 or maybe 2 days. I mean, what the fuck, you know? It's just, like I said, maybe I just got used to that way of life and just don't need that stuff. And you know, because, you know, you're in the foreign country or something, you ain't got time to fucking eat, sleep, or brush your damn teeth or shower or anything else, really. You could be there for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, or even a couple of months. You know, and when it's a couple of months, you're shit out of luck. That's a couple of months where you don't sleep very good, you don't eat very good, and when you get home, you're glad as hell. I lived, I survived through it. Luckily, I only did that like maybe 5 or 6 times that happened in 25 years, you know, so, and I'm counting the time. When I was a young man, I was an MP, an 860 MP, which isn't a road MP. A road MP is like the regular law on a military installation. You know, they get the colonels driving drunk and shit like that and get bitched at by the colonel. Fuck. I was always taught, if you do something like that, your authority outweighs their rank. I don't care if that's a general. If he's driving while intoxicated, he goes to fucking the PMO, which stands for, like, you know, the base prison and shit. So That's where he fucking goes with it. He fucking likes it or bitches or not or tries to fuck you over. He can't. It's just like in the military, if you say something about a captain or above or whatever, if they plainly hear you, you say it to them, it's perfectly fine. You can somebody else said you're an asshole. I'm just repeating what they said. And I kind of agree with that. You are an asshole. And there isn't a fucking thing they can do about it. Because you're being honest. You know, you're telling them what someone said and your opinion of what you say too. What you say and think too. And so there's nothing wrong with that. But if you just like blatantly like, you know, they give you an order and you say, you know, fuck you. Well, that's a different story. That's like a field grade Article 15, which is like, you know, $225 a month for a couple of months, 3 months, 4 months, you know. Yeah. Or they could like, you know, kick you out of the military if they want to. It's like, you know, that was the good thing about being a lieutenant. Being a lieutenant or above, you give 2 weeks notice just like a job, and you can like leave the service. You don't, you know, get court-martialed or thrown out. If they're gonna court-martial you, just give your notice and you're out of there. You're gone, and your discharge is totally fine. And you did nothing wrong. You know, so that was the good thing about it. But when you're an NCO, you know, non-commissioned officer lower than a lieutenant, then you're AWOL. You finish your time in service until you ETS, which means end time of service. You know, other than that, you're stuck and fucked. You know, they can treat you like shit, fuck you over, do all kinds of stuff, give you a bad discharge, or even kick you out of the military. You know, you're a peon, it don't matter. But they can't do that to a lieutenant. And if they try to, all you got to do is give your 2 weeks notice and resign, and you're out of there. And they can't do a fucking thing. So military laws are quite different than regular laws. They still have the death penalty. You can still go to the firing squad or be hung. You can still go to Leavenworth, Kansas, and shit like that, which, you know, you don't want. I was over there for a very short time, just to check out certain facilities and stuff when I was an 860 MP. And it was like, you got a bell to wake up, a bell to eat breakfast, a bell to get your mail, a bell for lunch, a bell to go out in the yard, a bell to piss or shit, a bell to take a shower, a bell to fucking go to bed, a bell before the lights go out and you don't have a light switch. The lights go out at 9 o'clock, you're tough shit. You better, if you're reading, you better finish reading with a fucking flashlight if you got one. If not, oh well, go your ass to bed. You know, so like, after a few years of that, that would drive you nuts. You get out and be hearing fucking bells, and it's like, goddamn. I was there just for like a couple of days, and it fucking drove me nuts. I can imagine the inmates. I'm like, God, putting up with that even for a year, every day, 365 days a year for the whole year. All these bells for everything. I mean, you'd get so accustomed to that, it would be like a dog. You couldn't piss or shit unless a fucking bell rang. You know, it's like you wouldn't be hungry until a bell rang. What do you do when you get out and then you go home? You know, you constantly, where's that bell? I haven't eaten for days because nobody's made a sound, no bell. You know, it's like, that would fuck your ass up. So you don't want to go to Leavenworth, Kansas, trust me. The other place like that was Mannheim, Germany. That was exciting too. It's like, those are the two prisons, military, you don't want to go to. It's like, Mannheim, it doesn't have all the bells and shit, but it has its certain rules, and they treat you like shit. I mean, if you're just for the hell of it, they decide this guy ain't getting lunch or dinner today. You don't get lunch or dinner. even if you didn't do anything wrong. And if you did do something wrong, God help you. Those people, those MPs over there, they are not fucking nice, and they ain't fucking around. So, but anyway, like I said, I was an 860 MP. And as I explained before, that's not a road MP where you're the law for the post, the military installation. You're the law behind the fence of a place that has a nuclear reactor, or is like a depot that has bombs and stuff. You fly around in the helicopter, then you rappel out of the helicopter and you check out security for that part of the installation and stuff, and make sure everything's cool. And you're down there, walking the grounds, for 8 hours, or 7.5 until the chopper comes back and picks you up. And it's that part you're moving, and it's not so boring. But we used to have tower guards in those parts of the installation, and when I was in, 2 of them committed suicide already, and I had heard about a lot of that at other places like that, because the tower guards, they just sit there and watch with binoculars and watch over the property and watch these 3 fences. You're allowed to climb over the first fence. The second fence says use of deadly force is authorized. If they get to the third fence, if they touch it, or you're fully legal and allowed to kill that person. You just don't let him climb the third fence. But these tower guards, they're looking at this for fucking 8 hours. You're sitting in a tower looking at shit for 8 hours. So lots of them were committing suicide. Like I said, when I was an MP or 860 MP, 2 of them committed suicide from that. And that's not a pretty sight, because they jump out of a tower and land on their head, and it's like you'd see them all crinkled up, and they got broken bones and a broken neck, and they're dead. And it's like that's a lot to go through, and I went through a lot more than that later on, but I didn't know about that. That was an adventure, but still, I did it. I'm here. I got my health problems from it, and some other problems, not as much. I don't have PTSD, but when I got out, they did monitor me and follow me around and stuff, for like 4 years, because they're afraid. Like, you're a sniper and that's what you do for a living, and some people, they flip and they kill people, and go to jail. I separated the fact that I was in the military and that was my job, and now I'm a civilian, so that shit's illegal. In the service, no, it's you're supposed to do it. It's your job. Now that's illegal. I'm a civilian. So I didn't have any trouble with that stuff. It's like, because I've always been that way, and my father was that way. He was in the Korean War, and he saw lots of death, and he killed a lot. But then he came home, and you have little problems and nightmares and shit. But as far as PTSD or flipping out or some shit, you're strong in the heart and in the mind. When you go in, you're fine. It's the people that are of a weaker mind and stuff and a mindset are the ones that have problems when they get out. It's like I told my other brother, when you go into something like that, make sure you have a strong mind and you can separate that from when you come home. You can't treat people like that when you're a civilian, because that is illegal. In the service, it's required, and but not indiscriminately. Just like like in Texas, Fort Hood, Texas, that guy, he killed those 6 people, and just because he was a nut. Unless the military sanctions you to do that, you don't do it, and you damn sure don't do it in the civilian world either. Who is the first famous sniper, the American sniper? He was killed by a veteran. It's like, you don't do that shit. I mean, here's a decorated sniper, and he went through all this shit, and then somebody kills him. What the fuck is that? You know, it's like terrible. You don't do shit like that. It's like, and like I said, that was probably a person that had a weak mind and never should have went in. You can't go in all gung ho and think, I can do this, I can do that. Some of the things you're called on to do are pretty damn bad and pretty damn scary. And you don't want that on your head unless you expect it. You kind of know what you are called to do and have to do. And, I had no problem with that. It's like, just explain to me what I will be doing. Okay. It's out of the ordinary, but hey, whatever. This is a special operations force. Okay. This is what we do to secure America and Americans. So, shit happens. That's what you do. And it's like, so I had no problem with that. And it's like, but when you get out, it's a totally different story. And like I said, the only problems I have is like knowing what day, what month. I don't know very much, and I can't wake up to a clock. I've done that before. I've set a clock, and you just sleep right through it, or just roll over and shut that fucking annoying ass thing off. I can't. I mean, daytime, and then nighttime. That's the only times I know. And I know when I go car camping, I'll do it on like a Sunday and a Monday, because Sunday is dead quiet. Monday, everybody's late for stuff because, well, it's Monday, which I never had or understood. Every day is the same. There is no shitty Monday and a drinking weekend. 25 years of that shit. There ain't no weekend. There ain't no time off. There ain't no drinking. There ain't no nothing. It's every day is a Monday. It sucks until you get out, and then after a while, it's boring as shit, and you forget everything. I've forgotten how to be a regular civilian. It's like sometimes they'll look at me funny. I'll go to the bank and sign a check or whatever and make a withdrawal and put the wrong date, the wrong year, the wrong month on, and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Now they know me and shit, and it's like, oh, it's that old veteran dude. So they know me, and but that's the way it is, and I've been that way for a long time. It's like I even have to like go on the computer or call. Is the bank open today? Or I don't get an answer or whatever. Must be Saturday or Sunday. I have no idea. It's like I'll have to find out from my caregiver or somebody. What day is it? Can you drive me to the bank? Which I can't go. There's a bunch of places I found out, like with my Ram ProMaster, it's the high roof, and like I said, from the ground to the top of the thing is like 9 feet. So I can't go. There are so many places the awnings aren't that high. The bank is 9.3, but you go up a hill and my van doesn't bend. That's 24 feet of, and one of them is some of it's bound to scrape the top of the canvas. And it's like, and lots of fast food restaurants, you can't go to the drive-through window. You have to park and go in, which for me is pretty much inconvenient as hell. But when I have to, I have to. And that's what I learned. And just like I said, and the other thing is, most of the time with Michelle, we both love each other. We're married and all that stuff. So you don't really pay attention to things, but sometimes I do, because she's always done strange, different things to me. She's of a different culture. She's Burmese. They're totally different, and she's Kachin Burmese, which is weird. they had to escape to Thailand to get away from genocide because the SLA decided that they were less of humans than the regular Burmese. So they were hunted and extinguished, which is like total bullshit. If it happened these days, you'd say that's communism and we'd blow the fuck out of those assholes. So, but I paid attention, and this time I noticed some things, and it's like, because I just had the frame of mind, just, she brushes her teeth in the kitchen when she comes over here. And I would guess because before, when they were escaped to Thailand, the Thai people didn't agree with the Burmese, and America wanted to make them citizens and grant them asylum. But while they were working on that, for almost 2 years, they had little trailers that were supplied by FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Act, or Association, or whatever. So, and it's you've got more room to brush your teeth in the kitchen than you do in those little tiny bathrooms in a fucking little trailer and shit. So, and I'm sure they're, not lavish, double wide fancy trailers and shit with FEMA. So, they give you the bare minimum, but you pay the biggest and most expensive price for it. It's like, you either have to tax dollars, they get it back, and you pay 10 times more. That, it's a racket. Oh, we'll help you out in an emergency, but eventually our taxes are going to go up, so you're going to fucking pay for it in one fucking way or another. It wasn't free. It wasn't a gratuity thing. It wasn't for your humanity or helping or aid or anything like that. It was for them to get money. That's the bad thing about America and this world. Capitalism and all the freedom and all that stuff is great, but stuff like that, paying higher taxes for this stuff that, just fucking shit happened, a flood or a hurricane or some shit, you and I can't control that, so why should we fucking pay for them to help us with that? My house got torn down. You want me to sleep in the fucking mud outside? I can't sleep in my car because that's fucking blown away and shit too. I don't have a home. I don't have a car. I have nowhere to go. Well, we'll supply you with a trailer, but then they don't tell you that your taxes on that trailer are going to go up big time, and you're going to pay for that fucking shit, whether you like it or not. That's one thing I really don't agree with America. I mean, I understand, helping. Free. That's why I help people, and I just don't ask for anything in return. If you want to help me, hey, great. If you don't, take the money. I don't give a shit. And I always tell, like Shannon and other people, Ashley, and I recently gave Ashley like $2,000. Because of her electric bill fucked up and shit, and they shut off her electricity and all that crap, and she said, I'll borrow it. And I looked at her and I said, no, I don't lend the money. I'll give it to you. I don't fucking want it back. I don't give a shit. What am I going to do with it? Waste it on generators or some other shit? Or, leave it to who? My whole family's dead. I certainly ain't going to leave it to my fucking nephews. They suck. So what the fuck am I going to do with it? I mean, maybe to you it's a big deal, but to me, $2,000, hell, to me, 10,000, 20 is really nothing. I mean, shit. I got 10 grand in the fucking bank now. It just keeps piling up because I don't use it. I use it once in a while, to pay my bills and shit. And they're all automatic withdrawals and all this stuff. But still, I make more than that, and that just piles up because I don't use that. So, oh well, I don't need it back. Shannon did that to me once. She wanted to she wanted to borrow $3,000, or was it $3,200? And she came to me and she was like, can I borrow $3,200?" And I said, "No, you can't." I said, "You can have $3,200, but you can't borrow it." And she almost fucking died. It's like, but she insisted on paying me back. I said, first of all, when you borrow money, you pay your bill, and then the next time you suffer because you gotta fucking pay it back. That makes no goddamn sense to me. If I lend you money, I don't want it fucking back. I don't want you to have to go through the goddamn hassle of suffering to fucking pay my ass back. I don't need it. You know? You need it. I don't need it. You know? To me, like I said, that has never made sense. To borrow money and then pay it back. No, here, just take it. It's if you borrow and you pay me back, then I didn't do anything good. I didn't do shit. And you're gonna suffer again. So like, take the goddamn money, because then I'm doing something worth the shit, and you don't have to fucking worry about it next month. I gotta pay him back. Fuck that. Here's the $3,000, $3,200. Get by. For all the help and stuff you have done for me, consider it payment for that. You help me, I help you when it's necessary. Isn't that the way friendship is supposed to work? Would I be a true friend if I made you pay it back? Someone like that would piss me off, and I'd say, "You suck, god damn it. I gotta fucking pay you back, you little asshole." You know, it's not right to me. But anyway, as I was saying before, and I got off track, I do that quite a bit. It's like, the brain don't quite work the way it used to when I was younger. I never really started to have problems until like recently. We're having a heat wave. My air conditioner broke, and my oxygen level went way down. I felt terrible and had all kinds of trouble, and I was so bad I couldn't make myself something to eat for like 4 days. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even get to the bathroom. and I couldn't get to my cell phone to call an ambulance and shit, because I wanted to do that, and Shannon got a hold of everything, and she called for me and got all this word, and I didn't want to go, and I told her, I says, "You know how stubborn I am. It's like, I'll weather this shit myself. I always do." But it was pretty damn bad, and the VA, she came over and gave me my cell phone and shit, and brought me something to eat, and it was like, they must have called me 10 times at least, the VA, and and they kept telling me, "You need to go to the hospital," and it's like, no, they told me that when your oxygen level goes below 90, that's dangerous. Mine was at 90, so it never went below. It went back up. Eventually, it took a couple of days, but it went back up, and now it's like 98 like it was before. And it's like weird, but it's one of those things. And like I said, she helps me, and if she needs some money for something, yeah, go ahead, you help me. We're friends, right? That's what good friends do for each other. You help me, and then eventually when you need money or help, hey, I'll do it. And since I can't do the physical stuff, I'll give you money to have it done, or do it. What the fuck? It works. It works for her. It works for me. And now I finally got it through the VA. She's my official caregiver, and the VA actually will pay her when she comes over here. She comes over here and cleans up and takes care of my trash and other things, and it's like, it's great. But now she can get paid through the VA for it, because she's my caregiver now, and it's like, cool. because now she lives in another place that's like 20 minutes away, so she's getting paid for her gas and her time, which isn't a whole lot, but still, she's getting paid through the VA. I pay her every time she comes here, or once a month, or whatever, and then the VA reimburses me that amount in my bank account, automatic, you know, payment thing, and it's like, okay, cool, you know, because they were gonna send me someone else, and I said, no, you get a girl, then you get a guy, and you get the. It's too much of a fucking pain in the ass. This one's my friend. I've known her since 2008. I'd rather have her do it and get paid for it rather than, you know, go through your organization and have a different person all the time. That would be a fucking pain in the ass. This way, it's a friend of mine. I know her. She has a key to my apartment. You know, and she takes care of me when Michelle's not here, which Michelle's hardly ever here. She's a PhD RN, and she's per diem, which means she travels up and down the East Coast for work. So she's here, I would say, every 2 months. I see her for a day, 2 or 3 days sometimes, and that's about it for another 2 months. And because, you know, she's not just working but traveling too, and, you know, like I said before, if she goes close by, like to Georgia, or, you know, farther north, western North Carolina, or Tennessee, or, you know, Salem, South Carolina, or something, and then I go with her, because like that's like 150 miles away, you know, 200 miles at the most. So, you know, I'll go with her, because that way, you know, if anything does happen, I can just like fucking take my car and come home, you know, or my van and come home, you know. No skin off either one of us' ass, you know. So, but on the subject of doing strange things, which I'm good at now, I do many strange. Michelle probably looks at me like, "The fuck is wrong with this guy?" As a matter of fact, I know she does. She has to. Our cultures are so different. Put it this way: she came to this country in 2004. I met her and we were friends in 2005. Until 2007, towards the end of 2007, we got married through the Bureau of Indian Affairs here in Cherokee, North Carolina. And the first 2 years that we were together, we had to walk around with tablets with Google Translate to understand what the fuck each other was saying. You know, and I've seen that before. You know, this guy and this girl, they have their phones. That's the only way they can communicate, because they don't speak each other's language. I've seen that before at the VA. It's like, the fuck are they doing? I did that shit. Only we carried tablets or phones, and, you know, Google Translate, and then after a while, I figured out most of her language. And even when she doesn't speak Burmese, when she speaks Cherokee is an Iroquoian language, and I'm part Iroquois because of my mother, and I'm also part Apache because of my father. So I speak that language. It's like it's easy. It's like a second language to me. The only thing that's weird about it is the dialect is different between the Cherokee people and the Iroquois people. There are some phrases that you don't say to a Cherokee person because it's rude and they wouldn't like it. And my dictionary has that stuff, you know, it's written in red. So, like, you come to the Cherokee, you don't say that, because they'll take it as an insult. But if you're speaking with another Iroquois, they're fine with it. To them, it's a compliment, or something, the opposite of what pisses the Cherokee people off. So, that's how we communicate mostly, because I understand Iroquois and Cherokee too, and it works. Whenever I can't get it out of her from English or whatever, we speak to each other in Native American, and that works. You know, the only thing that's weird about, like, Cherokee and Iroquois aren't modern Indians. Like, there is no word for, like, car or automobile, because they didn't have that stuff back then. You use words like horse or transportation. You know, because they had that stuff. They didn't have cars or automobiles back then. So there is no word for that. You know, so I'll say transport or transportation or, you know, flying or something like that. But there is no word for automobile or driving. It's just traveling. That's it, you know. So you just, it's like Osda means fine, and that's what you say for everything. It could mean yes, maybe, fine, whatever. What the fuck? You know, it could mean a lot of things, you know, and that's just up to the other person's interpretation. So, and her and I know that stuff, and cool, it works. But when she speaks English, thank God she knows, like, you know, hospital medical terminology and stuff, and but for the rest of the time she doesn't speak. When she first started working at hospitals, she started working at here. It was called Medwest back then. I don't know what they call it now. The North Carolina Health Services. I don't know, whatever. But now she's per diem and travels a lot, and it's like when she speaks English, she's got such a thick Burmese accent that other people will say, what's she speaking?" And she doesn't speak at work because hardly any people understand that stuff, and they don't understand her when she speaks English. So she just doesn't really talk to people. She does her medical terminology with the doctors and people who know that shit, and that's about it. So I had people calling me, you know, and coming over, and constantly, "She's a bitch." No, she's just very quiet, and she knows that you don't understand what she's saying, whether she's speaking English or not, so she just doesn't talk. She knows the medical terminology, so it might seem like she can understand or speak your language, but she really can't. She's not a bitch, she's just quiet. And that persisted for a few years, and finally everybody got the hint, and I just, like, you know, I don't want to hear it, man. If you think she's a bitch, okay, that's you. Go ahead and think she's a bitch, whatever. She's not, but whatever. I told you why. You don't understand that. Kiss her fucking ass and my fucking ass too. You know? Go ahead, be an asshole. I don't give a shit. Fuck you. I don't want you fucking up my world or my life. Or hers either. You little cocksucker. So, but she brushes her teeth in the kitchen, and I sort of kind of know why. But there's other things, and I used to always tease her with this stuff, and she would look at me like, you know, at first she's mad about it, but she figured it out that no, I'm just being an ass, you know, just being a friendly ass. She's very place specific, and all the clan girls are. And what that means, I didn't understand and didn't know what that means. And they're all like this. And I noticed this after a while. A fork belongs either on the dining room table, on the in the sink, or in the drawer. If you find it anywhere else, that's wrong. They freak out. You don't do that shit. So, me being a smart ass, I would take a fork and go and place it in the middle of the living room floor. And she'd come home and just throw a fit, like, you know, and act like she's scared of it, like she doesn't understand. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there, like, being an ass, and she'd be like, and just walk away. Go take a shower or whatever, you know, and I'll pick up the fork and just put it in. And the other thing is, a pillow belongs in the linen closet, or if you wash and clean it, in the washer, or on the bed. That's it. So one night we were sleeping together, and the pillow fell off the bed. Now the pillow is on the floor. She doesn't understand that. You don't do that stuff in her society. or her culture. It's like, and she freaks out, and I just pick up the pillow and put it back on the bed. See, I'm not a total asshole. And she's just like, okay, he's cool. You know? But I used to get a kick out of that stuff. She didn't really, but eventually she learned. He's just being an ass. Yeah. A big fat old ass now. But and they do weird things. They like when she's home here or in town or she's at her house in Lake Junaluska, on certain days at certain times they will go to one of the local cemeteries and do their form of worshiping and stuff, which it's different. It's sort of like occultism, but it's not bad. It's different, but it's their form of religion and worship, which is, everybody else would think, it's occult stuff. But it's not. It's very different than ours. Like I said, certain days, certain times, certain cemeteries, certain worship phrases and chants and things, and I noticed that these days and times correspond with the numbers 3, 5, 7, 9, or 13. So they're always on that. If you take the date, the month, and the day, and the year, and add it all up, and it equals like 13 or 5 or something like that, or it has it's that's their thing. And to them, a lucky number is what we would consider a bad omen, a bad number, and like 7. But according to the Bible, lots of things are said, like paragraphs and parables and stuff, are in 7s. So, and 13 is a lucky number for them if they gamble. To them, a bad number is 4, because 4 in their language means death. So, and a lot of Asian people are like that. It's like if you go over here to the Cherokee Casino and you bet on number 4, they don't like that. You don't do that, because to them, they don't. That's wrong. That's death. That's just something you don't do. You go there and you bet on 5 or 7 or not 13 or 9 or 11 or an odd number. One of the even numbers, 4, means death in a lot of Asian languages. In Chinese, in Burmese, of course, and a few others, it means 4 means death. I think that even means like Darfur, which is means to the African people in the African nation, many of them, it means Darfur, place of death. That's where they bury their dead, and that's not a lucky or a good sight. And the dead place of the dead. It's like a cemetery. It's a place you don't want to go. But Michelle's culture, yeah, she would go and just not say the number 4. Worship. Does today equal 7 or 13 or? And like July. July is the 7th month. July 7th. Or July 13th. And then if you add up the year too, and it all equals an odd number, 2 odd numbers. To them, that's their night of worship. That's their lucky thing. Which is kind of weird to understand, but hey, she's of a totally different culture, traditional Burmese. I mean, back in the day when Myanmar was owned by the English and called Burma. You know, it's like that's what she grew up with. And it's like they are totally different people, different than any Asians. You got Chinese, Japanese, Filipino, Thai. She is, her lifestyle and culture is totally different than them. Those are totally fine and normal and acceptable to me. And Burmese is now, but before it's like, what? You know, she's got to make me understand all the things that I don't do because her culture's different. You can get away with that shit with the Chinese or the Japanese or the Cherokee, but not me. You know, so I had to spend my first 2 years with Google Translate on the tablet or the phone to figure out what she's saying and to figure out her culture and all the things that I shouldn't do or say. You know, and what to say or do if other people came up with this shit. Like I said, she's a bitch. No, she's not. She just doesn't speak your language, and she doesn't even want to try. She's traditional. She's not like that, but she's not a bitch. You're an asshole. She's not a bitch. You're an asshole. So, you know, get with a fucking program or quit. We don't give a shit. She don't give a shit. She don't understand shit, and I don't give a shit. Fuck you. You know. So, but there are many things that we're kind of simpatico. We're even because there's lots of things now that totally don't make sense to me, and like they're odd to me. And it's like, you know, like I said, people on YouTube that are only going van camping for a day or two, but they got to have all this elaborate equipment. They got to shower, they got to brush their teeth, and it's like, it's 1 or 2 days. It ain't gonna hurt you. It's like, you know, the biggest emergency thing I have in my van is a composting toilet in case it's never used. Because I'm older, I'll use like a pee jar, you know, which one of those things in the hospital that it holds like half a gallon. You ain't gonna pee that fucking much in a day or two. You know? And if it's daytime and I'm not even in the van, you know, I can just go behind the van somewhere and nobody can see me. If it's nighttime, they can't see me, I can piss anywhere. But if I'm in my van and I can't go out, well, I got a pee bottle and it's half a gallon worth, and you ain't gonna pee up a half a gallon worth in 1 or 2 days, trust me. Not unless you got a really fucked up bladder or you drink too much. It's never that hot. Hot doesn't really bother me. It does recently, but cold never really bothered me, and it still doesn't. It's like, you know, I don't like it when it's like 20s and below, but if I have to go and do whatever I do in it, you know, buck up, buttercup. I just don't give a shit. You know, you can be a pussy. That's cool. I'm not. Never was. Never will be. I'm an old fart, but I'm not a pussy. So, but my van has the cot with the 4-inch foam mattress on it, and then a mattress cover, and the mattress itself has its own cover, and I have a pillow and everything, and it's a cot, not a full bed, so it's totally fine and comfortable. I've got a reclining chair so that I can sit back and watch my TV, which is on a table, and I'll bring the TV downstairs with me and put it in the van when I go, because, you know, I don't want somebody stealing that shit and breaking into my van for a free TV, and I ain't buying some other asshole fucking TV. But the table is all secured to the wall and floor, and I'll set the TV on it when I go, you know, when I get to where I'm going and shit, and watch TV with plug it into my 1200 watt generator, which I can carry downstairs, or you know, I've got 3 of those things, so I can leave it in the van. If somebody steals it, hey, what the fuck? I got 2 more, you know. So I don't give a shit. If they want it that fucking bad, just don't fuck up my van. Just steal the shit and get the fuck out of here, and don't fuck up my van. Plus, my van, you open the doors and it's all alarmed and it's got GPS on it and everything, so you can't steal it. You can't do anything with it. And my key fob alarm it like beeps, and a little red light flash, which tells me someone's fucking with your car or your van. So I just go out, hang over the rail with a weapon, and say, fuck off. I don't want you playing with my goddamn van. As a matter of fact, get the fuck out of this entire complex, because I don't want your fucking ass in here. And I'm sure nobody else wants your fucking ass in here. And there's a lot of veterans in here that are fucking worse than me. They'll kill your goddamn ass, and the police can suck their dick. Yeah. And they're older veterans and shit, and like me, and even worse off health-wise, and more than likely, they'll get away with it. So don't you bring your ass in here stealing shit. Not from me and not from any of these other goddamn people. You could seriously get hurt. And the police ain't gonna fucking help your fucking ass. So, and they ain't gonna arrest us fucking old farts. Us old fart veterans that are crippled from fighting for their goddamn country and their goddamn jobs. So, that's the way it goes. And other things, and I put the table, and I can also take the TV off the table and cook on it and all that shit. And I've got my composting toilet just for emergencies, and then on the other side I got my reclining chair so I can sit in a nice comfy reclining chair and watch my TV and stuff. I've got a fan in there, and in case it's too hot, or even if it's not hot out, it's still a little bit hotter in there, because then you've got the direct sunlight, if there's much sun. But you're in a metal box. Of course it's going to be hotter than it is outside. But all I got to do is, roll down one of the front windows or open one of the back doors. And I'm fine, But if not, if it's nighttime and I got it sealed up and I don't want people seeing the light or any of that stuff, because I don't want cops or anything like that, or somebody to come hassle me or bother me in the middle of the fucking night or some shit, then I'll just turn on my fan and watch my TV, and they can't see light through the front or in the back, so, and that's what my tweaking was, because I had a small entertainment center in there that I was going to put my TV on, but it's too much. And this way you've got the table, it's a regular table, and if your TV's on it, you just take it off, and then you can put your cook stove on it and cook inside the van. Which, cooking for me, when I travel for a day or two, it's dry food. All I need to do is warm up or boil up some water, and make some tea or some chicken and noodles that are dehydrated and shit, or my macaroni and cheese, that you just stir hot water in it, or one of my Mauritian noodle cups, shrimp, beef, chicken. That's all I need, and that's all I gotta do is heat up some water or boil the water, and poof, I got my cup of tea, my noodles. What more could you ask for? What more could you need? It's only for 1 or 2 days. I mean, fuck the diet, fuck the exercise, fuck all that shit, fuck the medicine. It's only 1 or 2 days. But, I've seen people that do this stuff for 1 or 2 days, and they've got refrigerators and all these lights and all this stuff. It's yeah, but it's only 1 or 2 days. 1 or 2 days, you don't need a fucking refrigerator. Drink some water, and it doesn't have to be cold. You're only going for 1 or 2 days, so who gives a shit? It's water, hey, or Powerade. It doesn't matter if it's cold. It would be nice, but you're not at home. You want conveniences like that? You might as well just go live in your fucking van then. It's so I've got refrigerators and stuff like that, and coolers, and but they're plugged into the house, because generators, because they're extra. Whatever doesn't fit my refrigerator or my freezer, I just put it in my other little refrigerator and my other little freezer. And then I've got room in there, and my stuff stays nice and cool, whether the power goes out or not, because they're on UPS generators, which means uninterruptible power supply, which means they switch over within 20,000 milliseconds. So, you could have computer on it, which I do, and if the power goes out, my computer and my fan and my light, my 6 watt light still work. And my TV still works, and my radio equipment still works. And it doesn't hurt any of it. It switches over, and you don't even notice, because the screen ain't gonna blink. 20,000 thousandths of a second. That's fast. It's any slower than that, it would screw up your sensitive equipment, like your computer and shit, or your radio stuff it's interfaced through the computer, or your TV, and because that all requires like a pure sine wave and a continuous sine wave, which, if you knew anything about electronics, which is kind of a pain in the ass, that stuff is necessary for that. You've got to have that switch over ability to keep the sine wave continuous, so that it doesn't fuck up your sensitive equipment like TVs, radios, or computers. So, but I don't have to worry about that. Everything just switches over, and it's like you don't even notice. It's like, right now I've got the main light on for electricity because it's brighter with the camera, because if I use the 6 watt light, it's not bright enough for this stuff. And so if the power were to go out, everything would stay on. My computer, my radio equipment, my fan, my TV, everything would work except the big light would go off. Big shit. I mean, I got a flashlight right there. I can just take my remote and turn on my 6 watt light. It'll work. It's not on power, it's on a generator. So I'm cool. But that's all I wanted to say, and it's like it's just, it makes me want is it me and my lifestyle then, or since I've been retired so long, and you don't quite know what day it is or what month or what year. All I know is daytime and nighttime and wintertime and summertime, and shit like that. Is it me? Or, are these people spoiled, or just not thinking right? Or you tend to want to buy everything, but that's for if you live in your van for the most part, or you travel a lot, for a few weeks or a few months in your van, then you'd want all those lights and a refrigerator and all. But for 1 or 2 days, you don't need all that stuff. I got what I need, and it's fine. But I still have extra in case it takes 3 or 4 days. But I don't live in my van, so I don't need to take a shower and all that stuff. I can use wet wipes if I have to, if I'm gone for 4 or 5 days. But my travel is mostly, like I said, Sunday and Monday. Those are the easier days, and less traffic, less people, less apt to be hassled and shit by anybody, or Sunday's dead, nobody wants to go out, and Monday's basically the same thing. Everybody's late saying, oh shit, it's Monday again, or they're hungover at home, so I don't have to deal with them when they're shit. So it's better to travel Sunday and Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are nice too, but you've got a little bit more people, and and then, like I said, June, July, and August, forget it, because way too much tourism and traffic and crime and waiting at the store in lines where I can't stand up that long. I'd rather fucking stay home. It's just safer for them and for me, And then when it's September and they're all leaving, I can just sit there and think, I can travel now. I can go out for a day or two. Bye, tourists. Don't let the door to North Carolina hit you in the ass on the way out. You piece of shit. See you next year, fucker. But that's basically all I wanted to bitch about and explain and whatever. Because, like I said, I got nothing else to do. I've been retired for almost 19 years. I think I'm going bonkers now. But still, when you look at things and pay attention to things, it's like, what? And then I start to wonder, is it me? Or is that different? Or is that weird? Or I don't know. I just look, see it, and accept it. And like I said before, Michelle is in love with me and I'm in love with her. We're married. So it doesn't matter. And like, who gives a shit? She's different. I'm different. She's totally different to me. And I'm sure I'm very different to her too. So everything else works. So who cares? You know? Love will find and does find a way. So, you know, that's one life lesson for you. And the other is stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy.